Good afternoon. My name is Dan Scripps, Chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission. I call this meeting of the Commission to order on January 23rd, 2025 at 1 p.m. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair Scripps,
Present.
Commissioner Peretick,
Present.
Commissioner Carrion. Present. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and Happy New Year, everybody. Today's meeting is being held in person at the Commission's office at 7109 West Saginaw Highway in Lansing, Michigan. We're also hosting this meeting remotely using Microsoft Teams. Telephone relay service is available through the phone option. If you are participating via Microsoft Teams, you may also turn on the live captions by clicking on the More button at the top right of your Teams window, then clicking on Language and Speech from the drop-down menu, finally clicking on Turn on Live Captions. As indicated in the notice for today's meeting, if we lose the remote connection, the Commission will not recess. The meeting will be recorded, however, and available for future reference on the Commission's website. In addition, the Commissioners can receive comments via LARA-MPSC-Commissioners2. That's LARA-MPSC-Commissioners2 at michigan.gov. And for reference, since I butchered that twice, this email is also included in today's meeting notice. We also have an opportunity for the public to make comments as provided in the agenda. A few notes about this. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and one per person. If you would like to make verbal comments, you must do so in person or remotely through Microsoft Teams or by calling into the meeting by phone. For individuals attending in person and who want to make a verbal comment, please fill out a comment card. They are found on the front table near the podium. And for individuals participating remotely by Microsoft Teams who want to make a verbal comment, you may click on the raise hand button at any time to be queued up for comment. For individuals participating remotely by phone, you may press *5 at any time to be queued up for comment. Public commenters on both Microsoft Teams and on the phone are added to the same speaker queue and will be called upon in the order they enter the speaker queue. So please do not lower your hand or press *5 again, or you'll be removed from the queue and lose your place in line. Finally, to minimize disruptions, attendees participating by Microsoft Teams or by phone will be muted until we reach the time for public comment. First order of business is approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
I move for the approval of the agenda for today's commission meeting.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Now have a vote on the motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The agenda is approved. The next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the December 19th, 2024 commission meeting.
I move for the approval of the minutes from the December 19th, 2024 commission meeting.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the minutes from the December 19, 2024 commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The commission meeting minutes of December 19, 2024 are approved. The next item of business on the agenda is the approval of orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. And today the commission is assisted by Staff Attorney Leah Arndt. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Good afternoon. Today's consent agenda consists of 4 communications matters and 2 electric matters. The proposed orders and minute actions for these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staff and are ready for your approval.
Thank you, Ms. Arndt. I move for the approval of the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Now have a vote on the motion to approve the orders and minute actions on the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The orders and minute actions on the consent agenda are approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4A1 is case number U-21642, which involves an application as amended filed by Stratus Networks, Inc. for a permanent license to provide basic local exchange service. The order before you grants the license.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21642.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21642 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4A2 is case number U-21663, which involves an application as amended filed by Easy Fiber Texas LLC for a permanent license to provide basic local exchange service. The order before you grants the license.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21663.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21663 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4B1 is case number U-21467, which involves a request for an extension of the deadline for approval of interconnection procedures filed by Indiana Michigan Power Company pursuant to Mich Admin Code Rule 460.910. The order before you approves the extension.
I move for approval of the order in case number U-21467.
Second.
Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21467 is approved. Guys, Ms. Arndt.
Item 4B2 is case number U-21483, which involves an application for approval of interconnection procedures filed by Alpena Power Company pursuant to Mich Admin Code Rule 460.920. The order before you approves interconnection procedures, forms, and agreements for Alpena Power Company.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21483.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21483 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4B3 is case number U-21492, which involves a matter on the Commission's own motion to commence technical conferences to collaboratively consider and address issues related to the use and deployment of electric vehicles. Staff member Al Freeman will describe this order.
Since 2017, Alpena Power, Consumers Energy, DTE Electric, and Upper Peninsula Power Company have all received Michigan Public Service Commission approval for electric vehicle or EV pilot programs designed to study and prepare for projected load associated with EV charging. These programs have provided invaluable insights about the impacts of EVs on the electrical grid. The EV regulatory space is constantly evolving. In response to these new issues, concerns, and opportunities, the Commission opened docket number U-21492 and ordered Commission staff to convene 2 EV technical conferences in January of 2024. The dialogue at the EV technical conferences provided a meaningful exploration of the current opportunities and challenges facing the transportation electrification landscape and EV adoption in Michigan, and offered an opportunity to collaborate outside of the traditional contested rate case process. Additionally, the Commission opened docket number U-21538 for regulated electric utilities to file transportation electrification plans, or TEPs. These comprehensive plans are designed to detail an electric company's plans for its EV-related investments. These plans will contain the long-term strategy to address transportation electrification in the company's service territory and its strategy to optimize EV charging load. The TEP will include planned investments, incentives, programs, and expenditures that are reasonably expected to accommodate transportation electrification and the rate-regulated electric utilities footprint during the plan. This docket is for informational purposes only and does not allow for any cost recovery. Both Consumers Energy and DTE Electric have already filed TEPs. Following the January technical conferences, the Commission ordered Commission staff to create TEP filing requirements. The staff filed draft filing requirements on June 2nd, 2024. The Commission received comments and reply comments from Consumers Energy, DTE Electric, the Ecology Center, Ford Motor Company, the Michigan Electric and Gas Association, and the Michigan Energy Innovation Business Council. On August 21st, 2024, there was an interested parties meeting to discuss these requirements. The commenters' feedback and suggestions were excellent and were invaluable in refining and strengthening the filing requirements. The order before you today requires all rate-regulated utilities to file TEPs every 2 years unless otherwise ordered by the Commission in docket number U-21538. A rate-regulated utility with fewer than 100,000 customers may request a TEP waiver. Given the new and additional data and requirements in the filing requirements, both Consumers Energy and DTE Electric will need to file new TEPs in 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21492.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, thanks, Chair. While the final TEP or TP requirements do not need to be filed to the docket until February 6th, I wanted to highlight some of the considerations within the requirements that electric utilities and interested persons can expect. As Mr. Freeman succinctly explained, the purpose of transportation electrification plans is to outline utilities' long-term strategies to address transportation electrification in the company's service territories and their strategies to optimize EV charging load. Therefore, my first comment is that as an informational docket, the source, quality, and freshness of the data used in company TPs are critical. This is relevant and important for vehicle electrification as it is a highly dynamic sector and forecasts and media coverage or predictions can vary by outlet. Any data source that was used to inform utility EV forecast models should be included in the TEP in a way that can be analyzed and verified by interveners. Secondly, we recognize that variability in EV forecasts leads to variability in planning. Hence, we expect to see recognition and contemplation of differing EV adoption scenarios. In addition to the highest probability forecasts for the TP filings, a TEP must also reflect a scenario based on the state of Michigan's goal to build infrastructure necessary to support 2 million EVs on Michigan roads and deploy 100,000 chargers by 2030. The TEPs must include the corresponding forecast of the electric load that will be directly attributable to the EVs within the company's service territory over the next 5 years. Next, the TEP should be an input into the electric utilities distribution plan and explain how impacts from transportation electrification will inform the company's distribution plan. And as a reminder, the electrification of vehicles is not limited to light-duty passenger vehicles. We expect a holistic assessment of the impacts from electrification of public transit, school buses, medium and heavy-duty fleets as well. Utilities will need to file an annual report of progress to their TEP goals, including incremental data to dimension and iteratively inform future plans. Then finally, I'll emphasize the expectation to develop plans with a focus on achieving equitable EV adoption and access to charging. The filing requirements call for TEPs to include strategies and measures for expanding transportation electrification among disadvantaged communities, low-income customers, and underserved communities.
Thank you, Commissioner Carrion. Is there any additional discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I would just like to offer a big thanks to all of our staff and all the interveners who participated in the development of these transportation electrification plan filing requirements. It was a long process to get to this point, and I'm really happy with the resulting filing requirements that will be filed in a few weeks. As vehicle electrification increases, it's imperative that we're planning prudently to ensure that we can maintain reliability and provide the power needed for this new load. Michigan has been at the forefront of grid planning for EVs for over 8 years, and this is the next step to ensuring that this change in usage and load resulting from vehicle electrification benefits all customers, not just those who own EVs. The flexibility provided by these vehicles can provide more options for managing the distribution system and optimizing the load. The filing requirements require a minimum of 2 outreach meetings with interested parties to ensure that all views are being represented and all positions are considered. I think this is particularly important because transportation electrification fairly uniquely brings in many parties that are not traditional interveners in our cases. And it's important that we have these perspectives well represented. The filing requirements themselves dictate a number of things as outlined by Commissioner Carrion, so I won't repeat them here, but I'm happy about the detail and the extent of the information that will be provided in these dockets. And after they are filed, there's another opportunity for public comment on in the docket from any interested persons, which will then be considered and read by us. So I'm optimistic that with the proper focus and planning through these transportation electrification plans, that we will continue to position Michigan at the forefront of leveraging this changing landscape to our advantage.
Thank you, Commissioner Paratic. We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21492 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4B4 is case number U-21534, which involves an application filed by DTE Electric Company for authority to increase its rates for the sale and distribution of electric energy. Staff member Jill Rusnick will describe this order.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. On March 28, 2024, DTE Electric Company filed an application with the Commission to increase its rates, amend its rate schedules and rules governing the distribution and supply of electric energy, and for miscellaneous accounting authority. DTE Electric requested authority to increase its retail rates by approximately $456.4 million. The company explained in its application that the rate increase is necessary to recover increased investments in plant involving generation to support the company's carbon reduction plans and the state's clean energy goals, to recover investments in the electric distribution system, to improve power reliability, and to recover associated depreciation and property tax increases. DTE requested a return on common equity of 10.5%. Its application also requested approval for the continuation of the tree trimming surge program, the conversion of the Bell River Power Plant from coal to natural gas, the retirement and decommissioning of 5 power plants, and several pilot programs. The application addressed major capital investment projects from 2022 through 2025. The record in this case consists of testimony from 92 witnesses, contained within 5,468 pages of public and confidential transcript, along with 886 exhibits. On September 18, 2024, the Commission held a hearing in DTE Electric's service territory at Mumford High School in Detroit to receive public comment on this case. 28 parties participated in the proceeding, including the Attorney General, Energy Michigan, MEIBC, Institute for Energy Innovation, Advanced Energy United, Foundry Association of Michigan, Michigan Environmental Council, Natural Resources Defense Council, Sierra Club, Citizens Utility Board of Michigan, Michigan Cable Telecommunications Association, Association of Businesses Advocating Tariff Equity, the Kroger Company, Utility Workers Union of America, AFL-CIO Local 223, Environmental Law and Policy Center of the Midwest, Ecology Center, Union of Concerned Scientists, Vote Solar, Michigan Municipal Association for Utility Issues, City of Ann Arbor, Walmart, Great Lakes Renewable Energy Association, Solidarity, We Want Green 2, International Transmission Company, Electrify America, EVgo Services, and the Commission staff. This case is also a read the record case, which means there is no administrative law judge recommendation for the Commission to consider prior to the Commission's decision. The order before you provides decisions and guidance in several areas, some of which I will highlight. There were a number of approved investments that will enhance safety and reliability for customers. The Commission approved breaker replacement program costs that will enhance safety and reduce substation outage risks caused by breaker failure intended to improve customer reliability and reduce reactive expenses paid for by customers and rates. The Commission approved costs relating to DTE Electric's portable generator program, which brings in generators to the most vulnerable areas where widespread outage occurs until power can be restored. The portable generators will power refrigerators and freezers, preventing the loss and spoilage of food and medicine, medical devices that are essential to human life, and some pumps to prevent home damage. The Commission approved costs relating to the continued efforts of upgrading various components of DTE's 4.8 kilovolt system. The company's 4.8 kV hardening program involves work to improve safety, reliability, and reduce energized wire down events as it relates to arc wire on the utility's H system. More durable materials are used to replace poles, cross arms, and insulators, leading to reliability improvements for customers. In 2024 and 2025, 90% of investment for 4.8 kV hardening is planned to be spent in vulnerable communities. The Commission also directed DTE Electric to present a comprehensive plan for removal of all remaining arc wire on its system. The Commission approved costs for DTE's tree trimming program and for its surge program, which allows for more aggressive tree trimming. The Commission approved costs relating to projects in certain areas in and around downtown Detroit that face challenges with poor reliability due to aged equipment, space constraints for new equipment, and high failure rates. The work involves expanding substations, creating new substations, retiring old substations, and decommissioning old underground cables and rebuilding miles of cable that face safety and reliability challenges. The Commission approved DTE Electric's projections relating to its pole and pole top maintenance and modernization program, which aims to inspect and maintain overhead distribution equipment in support of improving the system reliability and resilience to weather, storms, and tree-related events. The Commission authorized DTE Electric to extend its infrastructure recovery mechanism through December 31st, 2026, with the level of spending capped at the levels currently approved for 2025 and for the programs approved for 2025. The order notes the Commission is not inclined to authorize substantial increases in the infrastructure recovery mechanism spending without a demonstration that the company has considered and incorporated, when reasonable and appropriate, the findings and recommendations of the third-party independent distribution system audit from 2024. The Commission's order approves the company's request to increase the low-income assistance credit from $40 per month to $50 per month for eligible customers enrolled in the program whose total household income is at or below 150% of the federal poverty level. The order directs DTE Electric to use the Commission-adopted definition of affordability for any analyses it presents to the Commission when referencing affordability impacts of energy assistance programs in future contested cases. The Commission's order denies recovery of expenses associated with private corporate jet travel by DTE Electric, DTE Gas, and DTE Energy executives, as well as members of the company's board of directors. The order adopts DTE Electric's projected expenses relating to electric vehicle charging infrastructure needed to adequately support the growth and customer benefits of the company's transportation electrification plan investments, including its e-fleet and business charger programs. The order directs DTE Electric to collaborate with the Commission staff and interested persons to develop and file in a new docket an optional successor electric vehicle fast charger rate to rate schedule D3, which will be available to electric vehicle fast charging customers when rate schedule D3 is no longer available to these customers. The order directs the Commission staff to continue to make shutoff and arrearage data publicly available on the Commission's website and in an easily accessible format. The order before you adopts a test year of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. A jurisdictional rate base of $21.787 billion, an authorized return on common equity of 9.9%, an overall rate of return of 5.69%. The order authorizes DTE Electric to implement rates that increase its annual electric revenues by $217.38 million over the rates previously approved by the Commission in the December 1st, 2023 order in case number U-21297. DTE Electric is authorized to implement the rate increase approved by this order on or after February 6, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Resnack. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21534.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I would just first like to start, like I usually do in my comments from the bench, with a sincere thanks to our staff and for all of their work on this case. Our team of dedicated public servants here at the Michigan Public Service Commission is absolutely crucial to enabling us to make the right decisions in cases like these. And that's even more true in this case. As Ms. Resnack noted, for this DTE Electric rate case, we read the record, which means that we did not have a proposal for a decision from an administrative law judge. This substantially increased the workload for our advisors and attorneys in this case. And I just want to give a bit of color for what this process looks like for us. It's dozens of hours of formal commissioner deliberations with dozens more hours of informal deliberations. It's digging into the testimony of all of the 28 parties that Ms. Resnack read, reading their transcripts, sifting through tables of data, reading explanations and justifications and arguments both for and against each one of the issues, listening to every word of cross-examination, asking question after question of our advising team to fully understand each of the 318 individual decisions that we had to make for this case. And our team of excellent advisors and attorneys who helped us through this process deserve a dedicated thanks. So Jill Rusnak, who you heard from just now, was the one who organized and led the whole team expertly through each of those 318 different issues that we needed to decide to issue this order that is before us today. And working with her in the research, writing, and advising was a team of 18 more, which included Kathy Cole, Kayla Gibbs, Stephanie Fitzgerald, Carmen Wagner, Dan Williams, Shatina Jones, Kuma Okoro, Quinn Sharkey, Eddie Garcia, Paul Awesome, Lisa Gold, Leah Arndt, Jana Bachman, Kelly Barber Dodge, Charlie Kavanaugh, Alyssa Day, Caitlin Mucci, and Shannon Wamba. And those are just the attorneys and advisors who helped us through this. We have an additional huge team of staff as well. I would also like to say thank you to my fellow two commissioners whose unwavering dedication to serving all Michiganders is truly inspiring to me. So thank you. This was a big feat to get where we are today, working within our statutory 10-month deadline to analyze and assess each dollar of the $456.4 million that were requested by the company. Investing in and strengthening our electric grid is more important now than ever. With the increasing reliance on electricity for ever-increasing amounts of our daily life and the changing way that we're producing and using this electricity, it's crucial that our electric grid is sufficiently robust and reliable to stand up to these challenges. That calls for more investment in our grid infrastructure. Investment is necessary. However, it's our job to make sure that these investments that are proposed by the company are the right ones, that they're reasonable and prudent, and that they're bringing value to the company's electric customers who are paying for them. As we become more reliant on electricity, affordability of that electricity also becomes more important. And that is why the three of us spend so much time, energy, effort, and stress over each one of the decisions in this order. Focusing efforts on things that we know work and that we know deliver results is key. And that's why I'm glad that this decision includes approval for continuing the tree trimming surge program and continuing the grid reliability improvement basics in the infrastructure recovery mechanism. Both of these programs provide a mechanism for ensuring that the dollars approved for these programs are guaranteed to be spent on these programs. These are tried and true methods for cost-effective reliability improvement and are methods that are recommended by the expert third-party auditors that we conducted last year. And we're already seeing some of the benefits in the reliability performance of our utilities here in Michigan. The amount of time that Michiganders spent without power last year was significantly lower. We're definitely starting to see the improvements from all of the work that we've been doing, and I'm really proud of this progress. I also appreciate the focus on making many of these investments in vulnerable communities. Measuring and reporting of investments by community and cross-referencing with the My EJ Screen tool has been crucial to understanding where investment is being made and prioritizing equitable investments. In fact, 90% of the utilities' projected investment on their 4.8 kV hardening will be spent in low-income and otherwise vulnerable communities. We've also directed the company in the order before us to continue and expand this analysis, ensuring that no communities are being disadvantaged. The importance of a robust and well-developed record for each issue cannot be overstated. We need to be able to understand exactly how customer dollars will be spent to be comfortable approving any rate increases. There are many places in this order where the justification was just not sufficient for us to be comfortable approving the spending. One of those places is in the undergrounding pilots. I continue to see value in undergrounding electrical infrastructure in targeted areas where it is shown to be the best option, but I also continue to have concerns over the company's support for these pilots. The company contrasted for a cost-benefit analysis to support their investment, but this cost-benefit analysis did not include any benefits related to safety, resilience for catastrophic events, or the size of any of these benefits, which the company itself claimed drives the highest reduction in emergent reactive costs, cyclical program costs, and customer outages when compared to other investment options. For a cost per customer of almost $38,000 per customer for one of these pilots, I need to see a well-justified and thorough explanation of what customer benefits are to approve test year costs, and that was just not on the record in this case. Examples of where the company did fully justify the cost for its investment and show how they benefit customers includes their tree trimming programs, substation expansion and rebuilding cable in Detroit, pole and pole top maintenance programs, and many other investments targeted at improving reliability. I'm also looking forward to getting new rates in place in future cases, optional time of use rates for commercial and industrial customers, and an optional DC fast charging rate for EV fast chargers. These will provide additional choice for customers and use our electrical infrastructure more efficiently. The resulting approvals in this case before us give me confidence that we're able to improve the reliability of our electrical system, keeping customer affordability forefront. The testimony provided by our staff and the many diverse interveners is the reason that we were able to get to this spot today. And I'm really encouraged by the interest and the input that was provided by all. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Peretick. Is there additional discussion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I want to begin by thanking also the interveners in this proceeding who, as Ms. Rusnak comprehensively noted, represented 28 parties and built a case record containing testimony from 92 witnesses. Among the interveners, I, in turn, would like to echo Commissioner Peretick's wonderful comments and thank our advising team and our staff, whose expertise helps in setting a high and exacting standard of technical rigor for case records. And I'd also like to offer special thanks to the DTE Electric customers who served as witnesses for and filed testimony in this case. These customers contributed meaningfully to the case record through their engagement with the interveners among the Detroit area advocacy organizations, and the voices of customers with lived experience in the case record can provide invaluable accounts into the real-world impact of utility investments. While public comments provide critical insights for rate cases, by statute, it is the evidence placed on the record that must ultimately inform our decisions. And because public participation can help shape the decisions we make to fulfill our mission, I would like to acknowledge the ongoing and complementary work around enhancing public engagement that the MPSC has been implementing and continues to implement, including the work resulting from the passage of our 2023 clean energy laws, such as opening the docket on opportunities to improve accessibility in commission proceedings in case number U-21638, and the docket on opportunities to improve the rate case process in case number U-21637. While customers with lived experience took the time to engage with this proceeding and provided evidence for the case record through intervener testimony, the burden of proof for cost recovery requests remains with the company. The Commission will continue to scrutinize spending proposals to ensure benefits to customers by relentlessly reviewing record evidence to discern for reasonableness and prudence issue by issue in the very manner that Commissioner Peretick very eloquently described. Ms. Rusnak already did an excellent job reviewing highlights of DTE's numerous investment proposals to improve system safety and reliability, so I'd like to emphasize a few key aspects and communicate a few reminders. First, the order is clear and intentional in reminding DTE to provide thorough and complete reports to the Commission where requested, including for pilot programs, as Commissioner Peretick explained, thereby ensuring that lessons learned from pilot initiatives are well documented before proposing certain pilots convert to permanent programs. These reporting requirements provide transparency in how new programs ensure that investments deliver measurable benefits to customers. Second, we remain vigilant in examining the company's capitalization policies. While necessary investments are crucial for reliability and grid modernization, the Commission is mindful of ensuring capital expenditures are justified and do not go unchecked in lieu of ongoing and needed operations and maintenance. With the recent Liberty audit results from the company's distribution system now available, we anticipate issuing further guidance on capitalization practices in a future proceeding. Next, equity and investment remains a central theme of our decision-making. We recognize the progress DTE has made in prioritizing infrastructure upgrades in vulnerable communities, with the majority of planned hardening investments directed to these areas, as we heard. However, DTE must go further by integrating demographic and reliability data into its distribution planning process, including an evaluation of changing demographics over time. These requirements will help ensure that investments are distributed equitably and do not perpetuate disparities in service quality. And finally, I'd like to caution against any misuse of key terms like affordability and vulnerable customers. The Commission has established a definition for affordability to guide related impact analyses and expects DTE to adhere to it. Similarly, while we support the company's attention to customers facing heightened risks during outages, these efforts must be aligned with the broader goal of preventing outages in the first place, and the Commission's consumer standards and billing practices for electric and natural gas service can serve as a benchmark for compatible considerations when identifying potentially vulnerable customers.
Thank you, Commissioner Carrion. And just a few words from me before we move to the vote. First, just to zoom out, today's order approves just north of $217 million in additional revenue to support investments made by DTE Electric Company to boost reliability and modernize DTE's aging grid. Over the last several years, we have been obsessively focused, and I don't think obsessive is too strong a word here, on reducing the number and duration of customer outages, as well as the number of customers experiencing multiple outages over the course of the year. And the $217 million approved in additional revenue in this case, I think, brings us several important steps closer to where we need to be in terms of improving the reliability performance. We, as has been mentioned, we're supportive of a number of investments specifically tied to improving reliability performance, including $87 million in additional funding for the Tree Trim Surge program, which brings the 5-year total that we've approved under this program to just under $500 million, $496.5 million. And ultimately, by the end of the year, will result in the trimming or removal of 31,000 miles of trees on DTE's system, with real results in terms of improved reliability for customers. We also approved investments in upgrades to DTE's legacy 4.8 kilovolt system to improve reliability and, just as importantly, the safety of that system. Improve the replacement of breakers to reduce the duration of outages, and a whole number of additional specific investments that Ms. Rusnak outlined earlier today. And importantly, we're seeing the results of that investment, seeing improvement in the overall reliability, a reduction in the number of minutes that customers are without power, the number of customers experiencing repeated outages over the course of the year. I'd also mentioned that the role of the audit that has been that first of its kind independent third-party audit that we initiated a couple of years ago and ultimately received the results of this past fall, I think will help to drive strategy and the appropriate level of investment in the future. It also showed up in a number of places in this case, including extending the IRM for 1 year while we work to refine that strategy. And as Ms. Rusnak noted, wanting to see a pretty close tie between the results of the audit and the overall strategy in terms of building in those investments for appropriate inclusion in the IRM. In addition, there were a number of capital investments that were disputed by the parties. And while we ultimately found that the estimates did not reflect double counting of inflation, the evidence ultimately showed that while the spending levels were volatile, these expense groups hadn't shown increases in the trend lines, making such an approach unwarranted. So this doesn't foreclose using such an approach in the future, but it will require, as my colleagues have noted, greater evidentiary support than what we had on the record in this case. And I think the audit can help to drive an understanding of exactly what's needed in terms of the level of investment to reach the reliability results that we're all committed to achieving. I also want to note that while we were broadly supportive of maintaining existing credit metrics, including the current return on common equity and the company's position on short-term and long-term debt rates, there were a number of places where we made reductions, including disallowing incentive compensation, as we have repeatedly done, that was tied to financial metrics, while allowing incentive compensation for operational metrics capped at 100% of those metrics. I think this is an area where we still need greater clarity on how weighting takes place and how ultimately these calculations are made. But the operational metrics seemed valid, and we ultimately allowed for recovery of dollars associated with incentive compensation for that purpose. We also made adjustments to test year expenses, again proposed by staff, reflecting some degree of certainty of the estimates as we have in previous cases. And then particularly in this dynamic inflationary environment, found the need to use the most up-to-date numbers in terms of trying to identify exactly the spending level that should be included in future test years. This issue cut both ways in this case, but ultimately resulted in some adjustments to rate base and net operating income based on the use of 2023 numbers provided by staff versus the 2022 numbers as originally filed by the company. So finally, just to wrap up, this is an area where we cannot do this alone, and the company cannot. And I think that there is increased alignment on strategy. I think the audit will lend itself to making sure that there is broad agreement on where we're going, what's needed to get there, and how to do it in the most cost-effective manner possible. But I want to echo my colleagues' thanks to our staff, to our advisors and our attorneys, to the company and the intervening parties for the work that's gone into today and meeting a strenuous statutory 10-month deadline. And finally, to express my appreciation, as you did, Commissioner Paratek, for my colleagues. It is a joy to work with these individuals, even and perhaps especially on the hardest cases and most difficult issues. And I think the order in front of us reflects a spirit of collegiality and collaboration that represents the best of the Commission's work. And with that, we will now vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21534 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt if she's still there.
Still here. Item 4B5 is case number U-21571, which is a matter on the Commission's own motion to commence a proceeding pursuant to Sections 101 and 103 of Public Act 235 of 2023. The order before you adopts a calculation methodology to determine an electric provider's proportional share of the minimum statewide energy storage target and provides details on the implementation and enforcement mechanisms necessary to achieve compliance with Public Act 235 of 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Arndt. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21571.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21571 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4B6 is case number U-21643, which involves a request filed by DTE Electric Company to withdraw its application for permanent partial waivers of certain service quality and reliability standards for electric distribution systems as applied to advanced metering infrastructure opt-out customers. The order before you grants the request and dismisses the application without prejudice.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21643.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21643 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4B7 is case numbers U-21828 et al., which involve proceedings for all rate-regulated electric providers in this state to conduct annual renewable energy cost reconciliations in compliance with Public Act 295 of 2008, as amended by Public Act 342 of 2016 and Public Act 235 of 2023. The order before you establishes docket numbers and filing dates for these cases.
I move for the approval of the order in case numbers U-21828 et al.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case numbers U-21828 et al. is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4C1 is case number U-21807, which involves an application by Think Natural Gas LLC to become a licensed alternative gas supplier. The order before you approves the application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21807.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21807 is approved. I recognize Ms. Arndt.
Item 4C2 is case number U-21820, which involves an application filed by National Gas and Electric LLC to become a licensed alternative gas supplier. The order before you approves the application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21820.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21820 is approved. Item 5 on the agenda is the announcement of the 2025 regular commission meeting schedule that I know that you've all been waiting with bated breath for us to announce. The commission has planned 18 regular commission meetings in 2025. Pursuant to our bylaws, a full list of our remaining commission meetings will be posted to our website shortly after the conclusion of today's meeting. We've now reached the time reserved for members of the public to address the commission. As mentioned in the notice for today's meeting, we'll take public comments in the following order. First, from individuals attending in person, then from individuals participating remotely, either through Microsoft Teams or the phone, who have entered that joint speaker queue. As a reminder, this public comment period is for commissioners to listen to comments and concerns and not to answer specific questions. When providing comment, please indicate your name and where you live if you are willing to share, so that we have that for our records. And again, please limit comments to one per person and keep them brief, no longer than 3 minutes, so we have a chance to hear from all who would like to comment. We do have a couple of comment cards here today, and so I'll invite Val Wolscheid-Brennan to be our first commenter, and then Carol Sanborn after her. Welcome.
Hear me?
Now, yeah,
There we
better.
go. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Val Wolscheid-Brennan. I am here today as an affected landowner of ITC's Nelson to Oneida project, case U21471. This project threatens my historical Centennial Farm and all 3 of my family homes. ITC's proposed route unnecessarily condemns 8 miles of land, which is 20% of the entire project, by not utilizing an available transmission corridor that ITC identified as a feasible alternative route. This corridor was purchased and approved for transmission siting to the Oneida substation nearly 50 years ago and should be used for that purpose. Last month, I expressed that a disregard for feasible siting opportunities will have significant impacts in the state of Michigan going forward, squandering Michigan's precious green space and ratepayers' money as we move forward with renewable energy and long-range transmission planning. My continuing research found that MISO, our federal government, and several other states have put laws and policies into place to protect their people and lands, because some transmission developers, like ITC, have a complete disregard for basic engineering and business ethics. In ITC's own application for U21471, MISO affirms the importance of existing routes twice, stating that, quote, reflecting the portfolio's urgency, the Tranche 1 portfolio makes use of existing routes to reduce the need to acquire additional greenfield right-of-way, which lowers costs and allows a shorter time to implementation. MISO also states that co-locating new facilities with existing transmission assets enables more efficient development of transmission projects and minimizes environmental and social impacts of infrastructure investment needed to achieve the needs identified in MISO's Future 1, end quote. Since ITC and METSI is regulated by FERC, United States Code Title 16, Subchapter 2, Section 824P, Part A4GI applies in this case, requiring the siting of interstate electric transmission facilities to maximize existing right-of-ways. The federal law applies to both the Nelson and Oneida project and Helix to Hipple, because when complete, these projects will be connected to and an extension of interstate electric transmission facilities that are part of regional transmission planning. Additional government policies include the U.S. Department of Energy, who states use of existing right-of-ways can limit the amount of greenfield development, keeping new development in areas that have already been disturbed. The U.S. Department of the Interior states consideration of existing right-of-ways can expedite the siting of energy projects, because for many of these right-of-ways, impact analysis have already been completed. Where possible, the location of energy transport routes should be adjusted to align with existing right-of-ways. By co-locating new energy facilities with existing infrastructure, the development of greenfield locations may be avoided or minimized
therefore reducing the project-related impacts to valued natural and cultural resources. The states of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, Kentucky, North Dakota, Texas, and Georgia have all passed laws or have public utility commission rules that prioritize the use of existing corridors to stop the wasteful duplication of facilities and right-of-ways. Since I don't have time today to discuss every one of these policies, I've provided the commission with references for each policy to review. I want to remind the commission that you are our only line of defense against unethical practices in which we are experiencing in this case. I encourage the commission to consider policies that are consistent with the federal government and other states that require the use of existing corridors to promote ethical design and good public relations for years to come. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Ms. Welshide-Brennan.
Thank you.
Carol Sanborn.
Hi, this is regarding the same case, U21471 ITC Metsi. I'm Carol Sanborn. I live in Lebanon Township, Clinton County, just south of the Maple River. Today, I'd like to talk about the definition of the word collinear. Webster's defines it as lying in the same straight line or linear sequence. This is the total opposite of the word alternate. Public Act 30 requires that an alternate route be provided. With the Nelson Oneida line, the most northern 12.5 miles or 30% of the project, the route is the same or collinear. ITC Metsi and Burns McDonald have not fulfilled the requirements of Public Act 30. Every one of the homeowners along this most northerly routes due to process rights are being violated as the law is not being followed. When a law is not upheld, the right that is considered broken is typically the right to due process, which guarantees fair legal procedures and protects individuals from arbitrary deprivation of life, liberty, and property under the law. Essentially, it means everyone has the right to a fair legal process when facing legal action. Three key points about due process are constitutional basis. The due process clause is found in both the 5th and 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution. Components of due process. This includes the right to notice, an opportunity to be heard, and an impartial tribunal. Application. When a law is not enforced or is applied inconsistently, it can be seen as a violation of due process as individuals are not receiving the fair legal treatment they are entitled to. Please reroute this line directly north through state land, avoiding the huge curvature around Matherton, or pull the plug on both projects, both the Nelson to Oneida project and the Helix project, where part of its route is also the same, which is not fulfilling the requirements of Public Act 30. Thanks.
Thanks, Ms. Sanborn. Those are the only cards that I have. I don't believe we have anybody queued up on the virtual options either. So at this point, we will close the public comment period. That concludes the public comment period of the meeting. Please note that the public may continue to submit comments to the commissioners via email at lara-mpsc-commissioners2@michigan.gov. And again, that email address is in the announcement for today's meeting. I do have a series of 5 announcements today, which is more than I usually have. First, on reliability performance, as we noted in our comments on the DTE order, the focus on reliability and the investments behind them approved in rate case orders like the one we issued earlier this afternoon are starting to show results. And I'm pleased to say that we start 2025 with some good news from both DTE and Consumers Energy on that front. Earlier this month, Consumers Energy announced that the average customer experienced 21 fewer power outage minutes compared to last year, and over 93% of customers saw their power restored in less than 24 hours when they did have an outage. That power restoration percentage is up from 87% in 2023, while the reduction in outage minutes for Consumers Energy was their largest improvement over the last decade. For DTE, the company announced yesterday that ongoing efforts in tree trimming and other reliability investments resulted in DTE customers experiencing a nearly 70% improvement in time spent without power between 2023 and 2024. Now, DTE's release was quick to note that more work is needed and that the improvement was due both to the impact of enhanced work and increased investment in the electric grid, coupled with less extreme weather in 2024 over 2023. But it's also clear that this focus on improving reliability is indeed having a positive effect, and we look forward to continued improvement in 2025 and beyond. Second, I just wanted to note that both DTE and consumers were announced last week as winning conditional commitments for loan guarantees from the U.S. Department of Energy's Loan Programs Office, with DTE Energy receiving a conditional commitment for up to $1.64 billion to DTE Gas Company and up to $7.17 billion for DTE Electric Company. For the gas company, this loan guarantee will help accelerate the updating of natural gas main and service distribution lines and move metering infrastructure outdoors, while the guarantee to DTE Electric is expected to help finance significant generation and battery storage. On the consumers side, consumers received a conditional commitment for a guarantee of up to $5.23 billion. This project will consist of proposed investments in solar generation, wind generation, battery storage, virtual power plant projects, and on the gas side, replacement of legacy natural gas pipelines as well. These projects are largely baked into their integrated resource plans and the long-term gas main replacement programs that have been approved over the last several years. So the funding, should these conditional commitments ultimately be closed, will result in tens of millions of dollars of savings to Michigan customers for both DTE and consumers. And my hope is that even as there's a review going on, that these worthy programs that ultimately will happen regardless of whether or not the support is there, but ultimately will cost more if it's not, will move forward. Third, we issued a request for proposals earlier this year for nearly $5 million in renewable energy and electrification grants. The RFP specifically is for $4.875 million in renewable energy and electrification infrastructure enhancement and development grants under Public Act 121 of 2024, under which the legislature directed the commission to develop the grant program. The RFP is open for businesses, nonprofit organizations, units of local and state government, tribal governments, to fund planning, developing, designing, acquiring, or constructing of renewable energy and electrification infrastructure projects in Michigan. The deadline to submit proposals is March 20th, 2025. We have a couple of information sessions, and the dates and times for those sessions, as well as additional information, and the RFP itself is available on our website. And then finally, I want to highlight and express my thanks to the legislature, including sponsors Senator Singh, Senator Outman, Representative Scott, and others, the governor, utilities advocates, our MEEP partners and grantees, and our staff, and particularly Rika Holly-Velker, Mary Wilkins, and Ann Armstrong, for their work in seeing through amendments to the Michigan Energy Assurance Program that were included in Public Acts 168, 169, 170, and 198 of 2024. Together, these statutory reforms will remove the previous cap on the total amount that can be collected for energy assistance under the MEEP program and expand eligibility for the customers who can participate, among other elements. These are significant improvements in our ability to provide energy assistance to those struggling with our energy bills, and I want to thank all involved who worked to see this through. And then finally, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that it's cold outside. And with the cold comes significant dangers. We've been promoting opportunities to stay safe in this winter weather through our social media channels and other forums. I encourage you to drive home safe. The roads are not great today, and continue to stay safe. It looks like it's beginning to warm up, which is good, but winter is here, and encourage you to stay safe as we work our way through it. Are there other announcements today? We've used all our words, I think. All right, well, that concludes today's meeting. The next regular commission meeting is scheduled for Tuesday. Mark that Tuesday, February 11th, 2025 at 1:00 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn, Commissioner Paratek?
I move to adjourn today's meeting.
I second the motion.
We will now have a vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by unanimous vote. The meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.